We are just days away from Apple's next big event, and I've got some good news and some bad news you need to know. Plus, we've got some new info on one or two of Apple's most controversial products ever, some new ones coming, and also some interesting info on Jony Ive's new company that might just be looking to take down Apple. There's a lot of drama in the Apple universe this week, so let me break down everything you need to know right now. Okay, so I want to start first with sort of this very interesting story that is flying under the radar right now, but I think in the not too distant future is going to explode into a really big deal, and that is sort of this very twisted tale of Jony Ive and Steve Jobs' family members and other big tech powerhouses kind of working against Apple on a new secret project. Now, for maybe some more recent Apple fans, if you don't know who Jony Ive is, he's that very suave British guy who is very well known for decades for creating some of the most iconic Apple products of our time. His design team was and really still is world-renowned, making some amazing products, and sometimes maybe he focused a bit too much on form over function, but by and large, if you like your iPhone or your Mac or your iPod or your iMac, you can thank Jony Ive for really the fruits of his labor and all the amazing things he did. He put together a world-class design team at Apple, and they did a lot of amazing work. And things were going well up until a couple of years ago, where there was sort of this really surprise announcement that Jony Ive was leaving Apple. And yeah, they were still gonna work together and collaborate with Ive's new company, but that sort of shortly thereafter sort of fell out and fell to the wayside, and things just sort of got messy. Now, there is a great book on this. I'm not a big reader, but I did listen to the audiobook on this, and maybe I'll leave a link down below on Amazon if you wanna check it out. But basically, it goes into the story of what happened behind the scenes, and long story short is that, as you'd imagine, Jony Ive and Steve Jobs shared such this incredible connection, both in front of the cameras and behind the scenes, where Steve really had this reverence for design and understood the little details that Jony Ive was working on. And when Tim Cook took the helm of Apple, he just wasn't really that type of person, for better or worse. After leaving Apple, Jony Ive opened up his own sort of consulting company for other companies needing some high-end design work. And over the last couple of years, basically, if not all of Apple's design team has shifted from Apple, quit their jobs there, and went to go working with Jony Ive. In fact, the successor to Jony Ive at Apple, Evan Hanke, this woman here, who was again very well known for being a world-class designer who was leading the design team, recently left and is now working with Jony Ive at his new venture. And while this new company, called Love From Us, had a couple of different clients, one of their big, most interesting clients now is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. And apparently we're hearing rumblings behind the scenes that they're sort of working together on an all-new consumer-facing product that actually is being invested heavily in by Lorraine Powell Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow. So you've got the Steve Jobs connection here, you've got the Jony Ive connection, joining up with OpenAI, one of the most sort of trailblazing companies in the tech world right now, all sort of making this new consumer AI product, which has got to at some point be a rival to what Apple is doing with the iPhone and Apple Intelligence. And I'm not sure where this story is going to land. Obviously, there's sort of drama on both sides. Some have speculated that, hey, maybe Apple could sort of scoop up OpenAI, sort of like Next back in the day, and they get all this talent back with them and have all these connections, but I don't know where this is going. But I do think it's something you should sort of keep on your radar, because I feel like when this announcement drops, hopefully it's better than the whole humane pin thing with ex-Apple employees, and this turns into something, I feel like with Jony Ive very much, influencing, if not creating the design himself with his team. This is gonna be really, really interesting and something you should watch and keep on your radar. But speaking of radars, let's get out of the sort of rumor mill and get back a little bit more into reality and talk about what is coming next from Apple, specifically with this October event. We've heard rumblings and rebellings and analysts saying that it looks very likely that an October or November event is going to happen. That'll be sort of the second fall event for Apple to round off the year. And like last year with the Scary Fast event, expect more of the same to that. So a heavy emphasis on Mac updates with the all-new M4 chip sort of expanding on the lineup. We'll be getting some all-new higher-end M4 equipped MacBook Pros. We should maybe be seeing some sort of M4 iMac refresh, probably a spec bump there. And then, of course, one of the most exciting things is the smallest thing there, an Apple TV-sized Mac Mini with a couple of ports and some M4 silicon inside to sort of be a small but mighty little powerhouse that hopefully should give you a great sort of desktop level Apple experience in a way smaller form factor and hopefully a bit of a smaller price tag too. And along with some new Apple Silicon and Macs and stuff, we should also be seeing a couple of small iPad updates, probably base iPad getting a spec bump update, and then also the iPad mini as well. In terms of other Macs, like Mac Pro upgrades, or maybe even something, I really want to get a Mac Studio, but I'm waiting out to see what's gonna happen with that. That likely won't be getting touched until next year, so something to sort of keep on your radar for that. And then also speaking of next year, a couple of Apple products we're hearing from Bloomberg are in the works for a release next year. Of course, one of them, probably the star of the show, is the big iPhone SE4. This is the big revamp, redesign for the Apple lower cost iPhone that will be packing Apple Intelligence. Also, we should be getting an iPad Air update sometime in the spring of next year as well, or some part of the early half of 2025. And then two other products slated to come next year that are a bit controversial. One is the HomePod screen thing, probably not the robot, but just like a HomePod with a screen is supposed to come next year with obviously Apple Intelligence being sort of the key feature there and the ability to sort of see things and interact with Siri in a new way. And then we keep hearing a couple of different rumors that Apple Vision Pro 2 actually might be coming in the second half of next year with the M5 chip inside. Apple Vision Pro has been just a mess since launch. We've heard sales have really not been doing all that well for the company. We've heard rumors on again, off again about successors to the headset we've got right now. And as of what we know right now, a couple of things are sort of in the works. A successor with M5 inside and Apple Intelligence should be coming, at least according to rumors right now, sometime next year near the end of the year, though the body and the actual hardware likely won't change. And then we keep hearing that Apple is working on some strategy to not only compete with the current Vision Pro and its higher price tag, but also what Meta is doing with their AR glasses and stuff like that, with some sort of lower cost Vision or Vision Air alternative. There have been rumors that Apple could sort of scale back the displays. They might be actually conceding on one of the big cornerstones of that product and relying on the iPhone to do processing power. So maybe you'd have some sort of physical tether or virtual tether needing an iPhone or a Mac to make this happen, but also bring costs down. Something has got to give with Apple Vision Pro in terms of price and apps and stuff like that. So a lower cost version is in the works, might be coming next year, 2026. But just to keep on your radar for a lot of things here, but Vision Pro 2 might be coming earlier than we initially thought. And that's sort of it for Apple right now and sort of towards the end of the year. Likely no big announcement besides the rumored fall event. Likely nothing huge with Apple Intelligence until sometime next year. Likely nothing crazy or surprising in terms of new hardware products. Going to be a very predictable end of the year, which was what Apple typically does, is they sort of try to get all their ducks in a row before all the holiday shopping and stuff starts in the next couple of weeks. So that's what we've got right now. Let me know your thoughts down below on all this stuff, your thoughts on this new Jony Ive venture. Do you think we could see some sort of crazy movie drama-like thing where Apple acquires OpenAI, or they buy Jony Ive's company and they bring him back into the infinite loop? Your thoughts on what we could see at an October event or November event. Your thoughts on what we could see next spring. Are you excited for the iPhone SE4 and Vision Pro? You excited for this, or is this just a little bit of a controversy that is like the nightmare for Apple that just doesn't end? Drop a comment down below and let me know. As always, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you all for watching. I am Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.